Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah, and today we're going to be duping out the Glamlite and Barbie palette that came out a couple months ago. I've been talking about this palette a little bit on my channel recently because I really wanted to get it on Black Friday. And when I went on Black Friday to the website, it was sold out. I checked a couple times to see if they were going to restock it during the weekend, and they never did. And since then, I've just been like, maybe I have everything I need in my own collection. And the more that I've been thinking about it, the more I've been realizing there's like certain things about it that make me want it. But overall, maybe I don't need it. I haven't been that into colorful palettes recently. It would be a departure from like the path I've been on to go ahead and get this palette. So like, why do I really want it? That's what we're going to be trying to answer today. I'm going to dupe out the palette with my single shadows, apply this look with you, and give some final thoughts. So let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm working off this picture on my phone, and I have a whole bunch of my single shadow palettes and also my magnetic palettes in front of me, so I can go through and see what best fits these colors. I'm going to be making it in my new Divina palette. This is the Hecate palette, their 2022 magnetic palette, and it fits, I believe, 6 by 6, and this is going to be 6 by 5, so that's kind of perfect. And then look at me being so prepared. I just got myself another Adept palette because I have this one and I love it. I use it a lot. It's so easy to like see all my single shadows in, and I want to kind of phase out these like bifold palettes because these just to me like feel annoying and bulky to get into. I also like that this is the old Adept palette that I've had for years, and the new one is different, so I can like actually tell them apart and it's not the same exact thing, so that's cool. So the reason I'm mentioning this is that the things that we're kind of working on, deciding between, I can stick in here. I'll feel like an organized human for once. So I'm just gonna do a quick go through, grab out things that I think look good, and then we'll decide what goes into the palette and what we still need, what we might need to kind of bend the concepts on a little bit. It is funny how quickly things change about a palette when you start thinking about it practically, because as I'm like going through and looking for these, I'm like, it's so many mattes. It's so many mattes, and like, I can appreciate the importance of a good matte, but I am by no means a matte person, so that's kind of eye-opening. Like, I've already kind of realized that the shimmers are a lot more colorful than I like recently. I tend to reach nowadays for shimmers that are like a little bit more like unusual, or a blend of colors, a color I can't quite describe, and these all seem like very straightforward shimmers and very colorful mattes. And like, that's not really my thing. I think it's just a couple colors in here that I don't have a good substitution for that are making this palette look so good to me, but I don't need this palette to fill that void because it still won't feel full if it's not a single shadow. And I think I need to just keep my eyes out more for the single shadows. So let's start going through and putting these into my Hecate palette and see what we're missing. So already I put in these 3 mattes on the last row that were intriguing me, and I think they are brighter in the palette, but this looks to me like the best thing I have. Is it? Is it though? Because definitely their burgundy is a lot more brown, but I just don't think I have that many burgundy options. But I could do a brighter orange above that. This one is Runa from Divina, which I feel like looks rusty, but maybe the brightness is more important. Yeah, that's probably better. And like this orange here looks a lot more electric than that one. Maybe I should do this. This is depotted from the Tarte Young, Wild, and Cruelty Free palette. Okay, that's probably better. I have a couple options for this one down here, which is kind of funny just because it's not a color I tend to reach for. I have this one from Menagerie. These are both Luxie. I think this one's definitely a little bit more green. And I'm going to go with the Menagerie one. This is Turtle Club. We will talk about the names of all of them at the end, but yeah. And it's funny putting that in too. I hate how that looks next to orange. It's like two colors of eyeshadow that don't excite me, that don't go together right next to each other. So this blue matte section, there's these 4 blue mattes, and I am kind of struggling with them because these 2 blue mattes are 2 of the shades, or probably the 2 shades that intrigue me the most here. And that's because I don't have something like them. I just love this like bright cobalt navy. I've been wanting something like that for a little while now, even though like I don't even know if it's something that I would wear a ton, but I just want it, you know? The closest thing I have is this Menagerie one called Breaching, and this is definitely a better replacement for that one here. So then when it comes to these two, I have these both from Menagerie that are pretty similar. This one, the Single Shadow Dive, and this one's from the Annette's Makeup Corner Serenity collab palette. And I'm just going to put these in as the 2, even though I don't like them as much as I like those. I feel like the relationships between them do work. I also grabbed out a couple options for this, but looking at it now, I think 2 of my options are definitely too light, and this has got to be the one. This shade I didn't really understand, so I didn't grab out anything for. I'll have to do that in my next round. Oh no, I kind of did, but it looks more like purpley now. Because there's this teal here, and I guess it's gonna have to be Under the Sea from Luxie, which again, I hate it next to the orange. That's so funny. And I grabbed out these 2 lighter ones, Peppermint Kiss from Luxie and Emblem from Cleona, but they really don't have a place in this palette. These 2 pinks down here are really similar too. It's like this one's a little bit more reddish and this one's a little bit more bubblegum. And this is a shade I feel like I don't have a good one for. I think I used to have a ColourPop one and then I decluttered it, but that's because I don't tend to use that kind of shade anyway. So I don't feel bad about that at all. Oh, I feel like this palette's just not quite big enough for all of these square pans next to each other. What if I swap out this Menagerie one with a circle pan? Would that work? No. Okay, you know what? I am going to switch the palette that I'm making it in. I pulled out this hot pink from the Serenity palette, thinking that it would probably go for that like second one, even though it's definitely brighter and like a little bit deeper than the second one. It could also go for the last. I'm going to put it here for now, and then we'll see if I find something that's similar but lighter or similar but darker. I'm going to put this light pink here for now, but I think I could do something lighter also. All that I really need right now is a shimmery lavender. Whatever this is, looks like a cool toned light lavender, perhaps, almost silvery. And then like a watermelon color down here. And you know what? Instead of this pink here, which is Bubblegum from Luxie, I'm going to put in Cleona Adornment, because I wanted something a little bit more pale. I think that works better there. I'm going to put in, for the light lavender, Queen of Chaos from Shine by SD. It's kind of like more than a lavender, if you know what I mean, but I like it. And this is my palette. I'm gonna pull out this silver just in case. That seemed like the best option. And I have a red I could pull out to put there. I could do ube, but I know ube is like a shifty color, and I think I would rather do the silver than that. Yeah, I think that's how it's gonna be. Is it spot on? No, it's not, but it does definitely have like the same vibe, and it makes me look at the palette differently. I think I said this in the intro that I haven't filmed yet. I realized from looking at looks on Instagram that this palette would inspire me to do more bright, colorful things than I really feel like doing nowadays. And I definitely see that also in person, that like realistically, like, I'm going to make a look next, which I guess you've already seen in the intro, which I haven't filmed yet, but like, what's it gonna be? It's such a colorful palette, and it's so funny to think that like me, who's on this neutrals kick, or at least like mixing in a lot more neutrals that I've been interested in a long time, was so close to buying this super colorful palette just to get a couple shadows that I don't have dupes for, because most of it is essentially the same, or like good enough, or like, you know, like I don't need it to be better than what I have because what I have is fine. It's just those two colors. Okay, let's swatch this out and I'll tell you what shades are in here. Cleona Adornment, Menagerie Serenity Palette, Terra Moon's Ruby Stars, Terra Moon's Infrared, Menagerie Allium. Ooh, that's a really pretty color. Sydney Grace, Totally Worth It. Menagerie Flight Club Palette. Luxie, The Rose. Shine by SD Queen of Chaos. Menagerie Jellyfish. Menagerie Flight Club Palette. Color to Rain Perp Smurf. Luxie Under the Sea. ColourPop Depotted Silver. Someone asked me where this is from once, and I'm not sure if I ever got back to them, but it's from the Blow and Smoke palette, the like black and gray palette. Menagerie Dive. Menagerie Serenity Palette. Cleona Majesty. ColourPop Formation. Menagerie... Did I say Cleona Majesty? Or did I say Menagerie? It's Cleona Majesty, ColourPop Formation, Menagerie Turtle Club, and Menagerie Breaching. Depotted Tart, Luxie Bahama Mama, Luxie Mesa, and Luxie Heartthrob. And there is my Barbie palette. I'm happy that it turned out so accurate, but it's funny looking at it, it doesn't, like, it's not bringing me joy. So that makes me happy that I have all of my shadows arranged in a way that I'm not crazy about, instead of a whole palette of shadows that I'm not crazy about the color story. Because, as I've said before, having so many shadows now, like when I do buy palettes, I'm not buying them to be able to create looks that I otherwise could not create. I'm buying them for the inspiration and to have all those colors together. Sometimes for the formula too, but I also know that I like the formula of these better than I like the Glamlite formula. I really like my Red Velvet palette. I really, really like that, but the Michaela palette, which is the other one I have from them, I'm not obsessed with. And I think it's because that palette encourages me to blend more colors together, and I don't like how their colors blend together. I'm kind of just realizing that. So I think these will work together better than I expect the real ones would. So let's switch over to my face and see what I want to put on my eyes with this. Okay, here's a lot of my thoughts. Originally, I thought I might recreate the look that Angelica Nique did in her video reviewing the Barbie palette. It was the second look she did, and it was just using like the orangey, mustardy, burgundy tones, and that was the look that sold this palette to me, which is funny because I could do that a million times over with what I already have. I don't know, looking at it, I'm not excited to do that. And then when I sat down and I started setting up my camera for this angle, I was looking at the swatches of my arm and I'm like, I was being a little ho-hum a moment ago. I really like how some of these purples are looking, but I think the thing that I'm liking is just Queen of Chaos. And like, this palette does not contain Queen of Chaos. And I'm like, maybe I should look at it more just as colors instead of the formulas, because I know I'm gonna enjoy Queen of Chaos if I put it on my eyes. But maybe that is the point, because I already have Queen of Chaos and I don't have to buy anything to have it. Do you see my dilemma? So it tempts me to kind of just like follow the path that I might follow if I had the palette in front of me. And maybe I'll just do something really pinky purpley. I really don't know. It's also tough because that like lightest orange is the only thing that I would really use as a transition in here. So I know I'll be like totally going off the rails with it. But I think that's what I'm gonna do because I feel like that's the most like in the spirit of this palette. And if I don't like the look, then that's fine, because I'm showing myself that I wouldn't necessarily like the palette. I do have eye primer on, and I had red eyeliner on before, so my eyes are not bleeding, or at least if they are, it's already covered up by the eyeliner, so I wouldn't even know. I know these Menagerie mattes are going to be intense, and almost all of these are Menagerie mattes, but we're just going to ride the wave. I'm going to start with Jellyfish. Okay, it's a start. I'm gonna go into Allium with that. And I want to put it under here too. I don't necessarily need the top part Allium and the bottom part Allium to be connected. I just want like the jellyfish to like flow in two different directions. And for the top direction, I think I'm gonna flow into the red. I don't know what I'm doing right now. And I'm gonna let the bottom flow into a blue. I'm gonna take the lighter blue, which was Menagerie Dive. Yeah, I don't know about this. I was thinking kind of something like watercolory. And sometimes if you just go for it, it looks cool. But I don't know about the red. I'm wiping off the blue onto my sock. And I'm gonna go into the hot pink and kind of try to soften the red with that. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go into the deepest purple for my outer V, which was Colored Rain Perp Smurf. I always do this. I always just stick with one brush when I'm filming. I don't even think about it. This does not look good. Okay. And then I'm gonna put a shimmer on the empty space. I'm gonna do Under the Sea from Luxie. I'm a little embarrassed about this. I mean, maybe it kind of is doing a little bit of the watercolor thing. Right? I like the odd placement of shimmer. I just feel like my biggest problem is like the blend on the outer part of it, but I don't have anything better to blend it into my skin with. I'm just gonna take a big fluffy brush that I don't think has product on it and try to like fluff the edges a little bit more. Okay, whatever. It's weird. Maybe it'll come together when I put more makeup on. I'm gonna do my face and I'll be right back. Okay, it still looks a little funny close up, but when I was a little farther away from my eyes when I was putting on my base makeup, I was kind of digging the eyes. I don't know. You know what I just got an idea to do that might be kind of radical? What if I put Queen of Chaos on my inner corner? I'm gonna try it really, really, really lightly. Really, really, really lightly. That works. My camera just did a really weird thing and I'm kind of freaked out right now. It just like froze on it and was like greenish. And then it started working again, so hopefully we didn't miss too much and hopefully it's still functioning. I'm a little scared right now. Even though I feel like that's not the right blue, I feel like that blue is really like a Barbie blue. Okay, I'm gonna touch up my fallout situation. I'm gonna hope my camera isn't broken, finish up the look, and we'll be right back. And this is the finished look. I'm kind of digging how it all came together. Definitely not my normal look, but it's interesting. I don't hate it. On my lips, I have the ColourPop liner in Oh Snap, and I have the Glossier Ultra Lip in Villa. On my lash line, it's the same burgundy one that I had on before. It's the Charlotte Tilbury liner. It has some like cute little name. In Walk of No Shame. I've just been enjoying it with everything recently. Yeah, I can get behind this. It's funny with this palette because I feel like this entire video I've been kind of like negative on it, and it's just so funny because I wanted it up until I started thinking more about like how this palette works as a whole and not just being, I don't know, drawn to something new, drawn to the couple colors, you know? I just feel like the overall thing that I learned is that I don't want this entire palette. I just want a couple colors, and I'll keep those couple colors on my wish list. I'll keep my eyes out for them. Maybe I'll find them eventually. Maybe I'll discover something similar that's already in a palette in my own collection that I'll have to grab out more. Or maybe I'll get over it and I'll stop wanting them before I find them. Who knows? I really don't dislike the look that I did, and it doesn't even feel like so much past me. Like, it's definitely something past me would have worn, but it's not something that only feels like past me. Like, I feel like myself wearing it right now, but I also don't feel like I need to be wearing it right now. And I think I would be just as happy if I had a simple transition in my crease and Queen of Chaos all over my lid and maybe a purple matte on my lower lash line. I think that would be really pretty, and I think before I deconstruct this palette, I'll probably do that. I mean, or I could do that after I deconstruct. I'll probably use, yeah, Queen of Chaos, as I said. And I really like the shade of Allium from Menagerie. I think that's really pretty, and maybe I would put that on my lower lash line and blend it into Perp Smurf, or even into that shimmer from the Flight Club palette. I said once before that, like, I need to try to dupe palettes before I buy them. Sometimes I don't want to do that. Sometimes I want to like give into the fantasy and have fun and everything like that. But I think this is an instance of I could have saved myself a lot of like longing and refreshing the Glamlite page if I had just done this sooner, because I think I would have realized this sooner. It's like I want to do that look that Angelica did, and I can do that. I can do that. And I want a couple blues in my collection, and I'll look out for them. So yeah, that's everything. I guess I'll pull out my palette one more time for the road. Let's see if I can put the picture of the actual Glamlite palette on the screen on top of my face. I think it's pretty damn similar. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And that is everything for today. Bye!